In this series of screen addiction in kids, we are talking about the short-term effects of screen addiction. In the previous video, I have already spoken about the first 3 short-term effects. Here, I'll be talking about the next 4 short-term effects in kids. Welcome to Beyond Words with Indu. Here is a short recap of our previous video. So what is short-term effect? Short-term effect is something which is temporary and can be reversed if the right action has been taken. So the short-term effect is something that you see immediately, within days or within hours. So the first 3 points that we saw in our previous video was the sleep disruption in kids, then the reduced concentration and the irritability in kids. And let's continue with our 4th point. The 4th point is sensory overload. So to understand this, we should understand what are the senses that we have. As most of you are aware that there are 5 senses. They are the vision, the auditory, the tactile, which is the touch, the taste, which is gustatory, and the smell, that is the olfactory. But in child development and therapy, there are 2 more senses. They are proprioception and vestibular. Proprioception means the awareness that we get from our joints and muscles, and vestibular means it is to do with the movement and the balance. Now imagine a child playing in the playground. Here all the senses are involved, which means there is a sensory integration happening and the child is able to make meaning out of all the senses. But when a child is watching the screen, mainly 2 senses are involved, that is the vision and the auditory. So here there is a sensory imbalance. So when there is a sensory imbalance, the brain gets confused. And then, as you know, the screens are fast paced and it has got bright colors. So it becomes too much overwhelming for the brain and the brain doesn't know how to process. And that is why you see irritability in kids. And also some kids are hyperactive because they do not know how to behave in the normal situation. The next effect is eye strain and headache. So when a child is watching the screen for the long duration, the child doesn't blink the eyes much. So the research says that the child blinks 50% or less when a child is watching the phone. So when they don't blink the eyes, it leads to irritability and dry eyes, which in turn causes the headache. When they keep watching the phone for a longer duration, when the distance is very close, they are straining the eye muscles. And there's one more thing, that is the blue light emission from the phone, which again has an impact on the retina of the eyes. Because of all this, the child may not be able to write well or read well or concentrate on the task, which involves more of vision. The 6th effect is reduced physical activity and poor posture. When the child is sitting with the screen for a longer duration, they don't move around much. So the muscles are not being used and the calorie is not being burnt, which will in turn lead to obesity in the longer run. And when the muscles are not used much, you can see that the child is very lazy, they don't have the physical endurance. The research always says that the child should at least have 1 hour of physical activity in a day. It can involve both structured and unstructured play. The structured could be something like sports and the unstructured could be the free play. And the next one is the poor posture in the kid. When they keep watching the screen like this or when they keep watching the phone like this, they tend to slouch more. When they slouch more, they don't maintain the upright posture. The 7th effect is poor eating habits in kids. So whenever the child is distracted with the screen during the meal time, the child doesn't have a connection between eating and how the child feels. Eating is always seen as emotion other than the need of the body. So when we eat, we should know the sight of the food, the taste of the food, the texture, and we taste it slowly and we have to eat. But when the child is distracted, there is a complete disconnection happening there and the child will not feel fullness. So the parents tend to overfeed the kid. The child also becomes a picky eater because when you remove the screen and give the food to the child, the brain wants something which is more flavorful and more tasty. Let's now recap all the 7 short-term effects. The first one is the sleep disruption in kids. The second one, reduced attention span and concentration. Third is increased irritability and emotional disturbances. The fourth is sensory overload. Fifth is eye strain and headache. The sixth one is reduced physical activity and poor posture. And the last one is poor eating habits in kids. Remember that these effects can be reversed if the right awareness and the right actions are taken. Let's together raise a gadget-free, emotionally strong kids. Stay tuned.